Can you remember your earliest memory of what your vision for your life would be?
My earliest memory, I know when I think about vision, artist was always in the vision. Artist, I didn't know what type of artist, but art was in it. At that time, I was doing a lot of drawing. My dad taught me how to draw. He used to draw a lot of, and my uncle, but my dad mostly. I went to college for actually network administration and programming.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Where did you go?
I went to this school called ASA downtown. You remember it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like earlier on, art was your escape. It was your happy place in the midst of adversity, right? For me, the same. I always say music saved my life, right? I would dive deep into music. I always talk about dreamer's guilt. Like, we often talk about survivor's guilt when you go through something and you survived it. But dreamer's guilt, I think, is not necessarily a part of the discussion as much, because I always felt like your photography had so much soul.
Thank you.
So talk to me about the struggles of being a visionary as an entrepreneur.
Oh, the struggles being a visionary is sometimes it might be too big. Not that it's
How did you say this is the dream?
entrepreneurship is tough. It's not easy, and I wanted to choose to do it because
What do you tell yourself? What's the vision in those moments to like kind of lock in and take the hits as you sink?
I don't like to give up, I guess, right? And what do I tell myself?
Welcome back to How Do You Divine, where we explore how we've come to define one word over the course of our life. And today I am here with Gabriel Johnson, hailing from Brooklyn, New York, fine arts photographer, art director, and owner of Levue Studios here in New York City. Gabe, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. We're so excited for you to be here because I feel like your vision over the course of your career and over your life is something to aspire to, right? So I'd love for you to share some of those great stories. Like, wow, yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I feel like often we don't give ourselves our flowers and our credits. You not only have a beautiful studio here in New York, but we worked together over 10 years ago, right? Putting together my first family photo shoot, and just always great spirits, always rooting for you. I just love everything about you.
Thank you.
Like, so let's start with who you are. When can you remember your earliest memory of what your vision for your life would be?
My earliest memory, well, I know when I think about vision, I think about when I was a kid, first grade. Artist was always in the vision. Artist, I didn't know what type of artist, but art was in it. At that time, I was doing a lot of drawing. My dad taught me how to draw. He used to draw a lot of, and my uncle, but my dad mostly. He did a lot of pencil drawings. He did a lot of animals and stuff. And I used to be like, oh, that's so cool, blah, blah, blah. I was also into video games and comics. So I used to draw the comics and the video games that I used to play and watch. And I also used to take these drawings, put them on my walls. It was everywhere. So at that time, my vision was to be some kind of drawing, painting artist. And I used to wear those, what's those hats that Italians wear with the painters, and maybe have with the Tammys. I used to have one of those and would draw with it on. But that was the vision then. Yeah, and that's probably my earliest memory of like what I want to do when I get older.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So would you say even from being a young boy, you was always encouraged to be an artist?
I was encouraged, yeah, definitely. My parents definitely was on board with the art. I mean, it was definitely school stuff, math, reading and stuff, but they always encouraged me to do some
draw.
art stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
so beautiful. I love that. And how has that vision changed, right? As you was going through high school and you were just trying to find what would be my art, right? What would be the thing that stands out for you that drew closer and closer to you? How did you get closer to photography?
Well, photography didn't hit me till adulthood. We went through a lot of hard stuff in life. We was Brooklyn, right?
Yes, adversity. That's what everyone says. Like the 80s and the 90s in Brooklyn was such a vibe. I'm like, it was a hard vibe.
It was, yeah.
The vibe was hard.
It was nice. So, I mean, that's a long story, but going through like, homeless projects, all of that, art was the outlet for me. Drawing was the outlet, creating with my hands, origami, I did that for a while. And then as I got older, my friends and we got into music, and that was the outlet at that time. And I still wanted to be an artist. Like I said, I didn't know where that outlet was which avenue was gonna go to. So around my high school days, it became drawing a bit and then music, because that's when like the digital age started coming in. And then that's like computers and digital production and Photoshop. But that's when all that started. So I didn't draw as much with a pencil anymore at that time. So
you transitioned into technology art.
Yes. I went to college for actually network administration and programming.
Nice.
Yeah, and
where did you go?
I went to this school called ASA downtown. You remember it?
Yep. I love how Brooklyn people stay in Brooklyn. Like when we want to, like, try and think, we stay home.
Yeah, I went there. What appealed to me was the quick turnaround. It was like 16 months, one of those schools.
Yeah.
I didn't finish, dropped out, but it's okay.
Listen, some of the greatest artists, entrepreneurs out here right now did not finish.
Yeah, so I had an elective, it was Photoshop. So my Photoshop elective, I was like, yo, this is it. This is it. It's gonna be. And so that kind of brought me back to art and stuff, and then music. So the way that kind of mixed was my friends and we did music. I needed to be the artist for the marketing. So we need to do a photographer. We needed I brought a camera. I was like, I'm gonna learn this, whatever. I'm gonna learn it.
I'm gonna figure it out. It's giving very Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. No, I was the hood photographer, videographer. Any hood person, Gabe do videos. I'm like, that's
hit me up.
So I learned it, and shortly stopped doing videos. I'm doing music. We shortly stopped doing music. There was a vision for that 4 or 5 years, but it was short-lived. People, my friends, some of us was more serious than others, and it kind of just fell through. You know how that goes. Like,
sometimes everybody's in it when we all in it, but then you the passion, the people who are motivated by passion and just motivated by time. Yeah. It just starts to weed out for sure.
Like the group trips. Yes. If they're group trips, everybody, we down. True problems, like 1, 2 people there.
Group trip until it's time to buy them tickets.
Yeah. So it was like that. And because I had the camera, I stayed with it, and I really liked it. Nice. And I decided to develop a vision for me, and as far as where do I want to go with this, and I decided, I want this. I want a studio. Yes. I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to create fine art. And that was the vision around 2007.
That is awesome. Yeah. But I love how each journey kind of taught you something along the way, right? Earlier on, art was your escape. It was your happy place in the midst of adversity, right? For me, the same. I always say music saved my life. I would dive deep into music. If me and my Walkman was side by side, if nothing, I was gonna need the batteries for Walkman. And I love that, how art kind of kept you in every season of your life. But talk to me more about like why you feel like music, while was short-lived, you know what I mean? What did it teach you in that season?
I guess one of the things I learned during that period was, like we were speaking about before, about your vision. You might have a vision for a group of people, but ultimately you can only control, I feel like I can only control me and my trajectory. And while you love the people around you, it's hard to take them with you or pull them with you. I guess pull is a better word, because they might want it, but there's levels too.
Yes, you have to want it outside of being comfortable.
Yeah. And there's also a need for it too.
Yeah.
I have to, a lot of the reliance has to be on myself and my drive and take it there, and then not to also take it personal from them, like they're still my guys, they're my friends. If they can't support or can't follow along, it's okay, because they have their own lives and they got their own things. We're adults now, and so and I hope they don't take it personal either. We all still friends and everything, but that's one of the things I definitely did learn, because there was a big fallout a little bit between us when the music started happening, and when it stopped
happening.
Yeah, and we got to kind of move
You got to move forward. And I think that's a great lesson, right? That the vision that you have for your passion and your purpose doesn't necessarily always have to align with the people that you love around you, right? And that's not a bad thing.
Right.
And I think that's something that we don't talk about as often, right? Because we do always want to pull the people we love alongside with all of our dreams and aspirations. But just because it's our dream and we see it, they can be a part of the ecosystem without being on the road.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That.
So that's how I see it too, right? I always talk about dreamer's guilt. Like we often talk about survivor's guilt when you go through something and you survived it. But dreamer's guilt, I think, is not necessarily a part of the discussion as much because it's like, who do you think you are, right? Who do you think you are to dream so big for being, you from the hood. Of what you talking about? You want a studio in the middle of Manhattan and doing great things for yourself, like. You know what I mean? And I think while their intentions are well and they love you, they just can't see it. The vision is too big. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes it's okay for you to be a part of the ecosystem of the dream without being like in the eye of the tiger. Yeah. So it's really it's part of the journey, and it's a good lesson to learn. Yeah. Right?
For sure.
So that's what music has taught you. We can't necessarily bring everyone with us. It's power for the course, right? And so as you started to horn in into fine art, because your art is amazing, and we'll pop up some pictures and make sure everyone sees, you have such a unique eye. You know what I mean? I feel like I always felt like your photography had so much soul.
Thank you. Wow.
It has so much soul, right? Even like the cool shots, the quick shots you take off, I love them because it has so much soul. And as somebody who loves photography as a hobby, I always say like, I could take a good picture. I love all my cameras, but you have a good eye. So over the course of your vision, how do you feel like you started to horn in and practice your craft and really dedicate yourself? Because vision requires sacrifice. Yep. Tell us about some of those sacrifices.
Yeah, for sure. So after the music I wrote, I picked up the camera, started saying, okay, I'm gonna do this thing with the camera, photography. I said, how I'm gonna do this? I don't think I need to go to school, accredited school. I don't think I need to do that. I think I just need to learn it technically and stuff. And I realized I was also really good at math. Like as far as math, logic stuff. So logic was it came to me like secondhand. I was like, all right, so I'm going to figure out, I'm gonna find a mentor. I'm gonna find a place that can use my services and try to get that information I need to come back. So I found this school in Manhattan. It was Photo Manhattan. Nice. So if anybody is a photographer in New York in the last 20 years, they probably heard of it. It was a really popular school in New York for photography. And I became an intern. I interned for 3 months. It was hard to get the internship. I had to email them 4 or 5 times. Yes.
But I want to pause there before you keep on the story, because I feel like this is the part of the journey people don't talk about. Yeah. Putting, that level of bravery, putting yourself out there to be like, I'm okay with starting from the bottom. Yeah. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to and then seek out a mentor, right? Yeah. I feel like I always joke that in Brooklyn, in school, nobody was like, you need to find a mentor and a sponsor. Yeah. Like no one talked about that. But I think you should also commend yourself and also talk about the fact that you knew that this is something that I really want to do. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna send all the emails. I'm gonna look crazy, but I'm gonna go for broke for mine.
Yeah. I wasn't afraid to start from the bottom, like you said. I do know there's a bad taste around doing things for free and trying to charge off the top as soon as you start. But there's a big value in learning, and there is it's not this like the same help as like a monetary value. Of course, it's not gonna pay the bills, but that learning is gonna take you. It's gonna take you. Yes. And the information that you're gonna acquire is definitely useful. So I needed to do that. And I think at the time when I did the internship, I think I was still living with my mom. So I didn't have to pay much.
Yes. Sometimes Mom Deuce gotta hold it down for the dream. She gotta hold it down for the dream.
Right. So I definitely took advantage of that.
Nice.
So the internship happened. I met this lady. Her name is Aldana. She's amazing, and she was the owner of the school. And so I did the internship. In return for the internship, I got free photography classes. Took all those classes, like 9-week sessions, 9-week courses. I learned everything I could, got contacts from the teachers and everything. I made sure they remembered me.
Network, you better go ahead, Gabe. He said, I'm going all out for this opportunity.
Yes. And so when I was done with the courses, there was a period of quiet of like, what do I do now with this knowledge?
Yeah.
Let me do some shoots. Let me get some friends.
How do I apply all this learning?
All right, is the camera? Let me get a new camera, because this camera I have, I realized, has a limitation.
Yes.
And I did a lot of free $50, $20 shoots.
Nice.
I did a lot of that just to get the experience, and that experience is
Pivotal.
yeah.
That's
sure.
But I just think that is so amazing, right? That you went in, you was like, I'm gonna do this internship. Very New York. You hear the sirens. We're very much in the heart of New York.
Yes.
I love that you said, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do this internship, and I'm not just going to learn, I am going to network. I'm going to make sure they remember me. I'm going to make sure, because this is your path. Like, seriously, it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, the vision is not necessarily for everybody to understand and see. Because I'm sure you have people in your ear like, Gabe, come on, you could come hang out. You out here, you wasting a lot of time, and you ain't getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have people in your ear that's like, come on.
Yep.
But it was a vision only for you, and you saw through. You saw what you were sitting in now, right?
Yeah. So let me get into that. So after I did my shoots, but before I left the school, I said, hey, Aldana, if there's a position that you got,
Yes.
because there wasn't too many staff there. It was the teachers and then the front desk. I was like, yo, if the front desk ever dip on you, let me know. I'm here. So, because the internship, I went hard. Like, I stayed late. I just tried to make it seem like,
Yes, you made yourself known, and you made your passion very clear to everybody,
Right,
which
right.
is good. I think it's important that we amplify that, because people are always afraid of look like they're trying, like I'm doing too much.
Exactly.
Like, if it's your vision, I want to look like I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think we need to stop that. I don't know where we got that from in our culture, where it was like, I don't want to be doing too much. I don't even look like I'm trying. But if it's your vision and it's your passion, why not?
yeah, there's a lot of pride in that. And I let it go. I kind of threw it out. I was like, the ego thing, and I just was like, no, I need to do this. Yeah.
That's good. But I just feel like, to me, like, claps. Like, that's some real king shit, if you ask me, like, for real. Because I think, especially as Black men, it's like you have to be seen like this and da-da-da-da-da. But that's some real king shit you was building. You know what I mean? You was building your empire that we are currently sitting, by the way. And other people would be like, nah, Gabe, you look soft. You look like you're doing too much. But you were like, no, I'm going to maximize this opportunity. And I'm gonna even tell her, listen, if these other people ain't stepping in for you, or like, you need somebody solid, I'm that somebody solid.
Yep.
You know what
That's
I
what
mean?
happened, yeah. So, I eventually got a position at the
Nice.
front desk.
Listen, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I got the position. And with that position, you get free studio time. Right? 'Cause that's really what I wanted. Outside photography was fine. It was nice. There was a technical aspect to studio photography that really appealed to me.
Nice. The complexity.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I tell you, you're a little genius. I've been peeped it. Gabe.
Not a lot of people like studio photography because of the lighting, ratios and power and stuff like that. It's like, just go use the God's light, use natural light. I'm like, okay, I could do that too, but let's do something different. To be in the studio means full control. It is control of every single aspect of light, every direction, I wanted that control. So
Nice.
I needed to learn it. But yeah, there's a big understatement about following and being a follower. But there's a value. You just got to make sure that I think that you have to make sure that if you're following, that you're picking up what you need to pick up.
And leaving the rest.
So right, so you don't have to, eventually you won't be the follower, you'll be the leader. You'll
Yes.
be the one in front. That's what I thought I was getting. I wasn't just following and dropping my pride for nothing. It was because this information, this stuff that I was getting back was just as valuable.
Yeah, and it's now pivotal to your business.
A lot of the stuff I learned during that period, I implemented now.
Nice.
Still, I was just telling somebody that everything I learned from Aldana, when she was the CEO, everything I learned from her, I'm literally currently doing right now. And those days that I was working for her, so I worked till 10 p.m. I would stay till 11, 12, whatever. She noticed that, and she told me everything.
Listen, she gave you the playbook, and now you flipped it and you've made it into your own. And that's something that's not something just to be proud about. It also teaches people the ways in which other people's flaws as well as their hurdles, because I think being an entrepreneur is part. We don't necessarily talk about that part much in the vision and the passion, right? The fact that you need to run a business, right? And what are the complexities to run a business, right? There's the studio, there's the beautifyingness of the photography, but there is entrepreneurship. There's making sure the lights is on, the electricity is on, people are paid, things are where they need to be. And you learned a lot of that in your early days. So talk to me about the struggles of being a visionary as an entrepreneur.
Oh, the struggles being a visionary is sometimes it might be too big. Not that it might seem too big from the current position that you're in now. And also, like you said, telling people, you still kind of need a community to support. Maybe even just verbally to be like, yeah, yo, you got this. It might be kind of tough to say, yo, I want a 4,000 square foot studio in Union Square when I'm interning.
Right? When the money is not even it's looking real funny.
Yeah, and the prices are going up, man. Like, bro, it's a lot of money, bro. I'm like, no, whatever. I got the goal. I got the vision, and then I got the plan.
Yes, I always say I believe in the dream, the goal, the timeline, and the task. I'm always big on, if you don't set a dream, then you don't even know where you're aiming. So it's good that you always had this big dream, because Union Square, like you said, this is nothing. There's no funny money here. This is very big. Yeah. You were on like the largest stage here in New York City, in the center, in the heart of it, at that. And how did you say like this is the dream? So what goals did you set? How did you give yourself a timeline? Walk us through that.
Okay, so I got the studio time because I was working.
Yes.
And while I was there, I said, okay, my goal there. All right, so the vision is a little further than the little steps of the goal.
Yes.
So I focused on the goals a lot at that point, and the goal at that time was to accumulate enough reputation, money, and experience. Like my photos got to be good.
Yes. Listen, got that.
And to get my own studio. That was the goal. So I focused on that. I used to do shoots every weekend, 4 shoots a Saturday, 4 shoots on Sunday, back to back, 1 hour each. I look back on that, I'm like, I don't know how I did that. I don't know where that.
That young heart. That was that young energy, that young heart.
And it was all paid too. So like I figured out Instagram was a big part of my thing. So another goal was to learn the
social media landscape,
ads and stuff like that. So after that, there was a goal, and then there was another. This could happen in the back of my mind, right? So this other thing that
I love when this could happen. Listen, you gotta aim at these guys. I love it.
It was like a plan B. I was like, this studio, this specific one.
Yes.
There might be a chance that Aldana needs somebody to take over.
Yes.
There might, because there's not a lot of people here. It's only me, the front desk, which is the manager, which is managing all the teachers and stuff, and she's in the back telling me what to tell them and whatever, right? So I'm like, maybe there's a chance.
There's no real visionary here. There's no artiste here like me. I love that. You better call out a spot for yourself, gang.
There was a point where the school started to decline. I think because of the digital age, the people stopped wanting to come in person. And it started doing YouTube and YouTube classes, online classes, and all of that. And there was a decline in in-person
attendees. Yeah.
So we had 2 studios. I tried my hard. I mean, I was a front desk. I tried my hardest to get it going. But in the back of my mind, I was like, this might be God, but I'm gonna just.
This might be God. Pivot, telling you it's time to pivot. Yeah.
This might be. And, I tried my hardest. But eventually, she said, all right, we're gonna have to close the studio down and rent other spaces, run the classes and rent other spaces cheaper.
Yeah.
At that time was the perfect time, because that's when I had a client base, the money, and the time to take over the space.
It's because it was building in parallel on IG.
Exactly.
Okay.
Building in parallel on IG. And
you better play.
Like not
Yeah. So the plan B started to come
plan A.
Listen, you gotta build it while it's, you know what they say, build it in motion. Build it in motion.
And then I told her, I was like, let me put the name of the studio let me put the lease in my name.
Yes.
You rent from me. And so you could pay half the price of what you're paying now, and the other half, I'll pay because
Because you got your
streets and stuff. And she was like, okay, yeah, it works. It's 50,
Yeah, it's like a 50-50 situation.
She was like, let's do it. And she said, the only thing is I got to talk to the landlord, blah, blah, blah. But I was really close with the landlord because he would see me
Every day on the front.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I see how you that was finesse. That was nice.
Yeah, so it really worked out. And that's how I got my first studio, man. And
Nice. But I feel like it's such a beautiful story, right? Because do you see how taking a chance on yourself, legit, you kept sending them emails. After that first email, you could have been like, yeah, they dubbing me. I'm not even gonna reach out no more. You kept emailing. Then you got the internship. I just want you to see that thread of you believing in yourself landed you your first studio. From crazy emails to the internship to working late, and now you're sitting in your own studio.
Yep. I'm out of speechless, honestly. I mean, I don't know what to say. That's exactly how it happened. It sounds crazy, but
God works in crazy ways,
yeah.
especially when you believe in it and you work for it, right? And so talk to us about being a dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like how as you, because I feel like as we ascend into our visions and goals and dreams and aspirations in life, right? There's so many, like we talked about, people that we want to pull with us. There's so many things that we want to grow in parallel, right? Relationships, parenthood. Talk to me about when your son entered the world and where you were in your career and how did that change your vision?
Yeah, when my son was born, I was working with kids. I was in Harlem working with kids. I was in Polo Grounds up by Rucker Park, and I was I was doing technology. I was teaching technology.
Yes.
At that time, that was the time when I was rapping, and then I picked up the camera. Mm-hmm. So all of that was in at that time. And before I got let go, I had started a kids teaching photography program in there. Teaching kids and giving back to the youth and the hood and all that. That's damn. I love that. Yeah, I love that. So, so anyway, I got let go.
They let me go. I'm not creating a program. It's cool.
They let me go, but Ethan was born, and so that's when I decided to dive in. I was not living with my mom, actually. I was living with Ethan's mom at the time.
Yes.
We were together. At that time, she kind of held it down. She held down the
financial part.
Yeah, she held it down. And I was on my unemployment. Oh, that also held me down. Unemployment. It's all coming back to
$3, that's the $20.
It held me down. And then I was doing my little shoots. With Ethan being there, it felt more dire. Like, I know I need money, but nobody's gonna give me money. I need to learn what I need to learn while I'm here. Come back home, Ethan, spend time, be the dad, and then wake up and do this
for real.
Ethan.
And do it for real. Yeah.
There's no time to play.
I love that. I always say kids definitely remind you time is not a joke. Every minute is $1 and not the type of dollars you can remake.
Right. My mom helped me out a lot with her watching him, babysitting and stuff while I had my shoots.
Listen, sometimes it take a village.
She, the MVP.
Give mom my MVP.
But I started seeing like how much a babysitter is and how much I would need a babysitter. I'm like,
listen, childcare, especially childcare in New York, is no joke.
I can't afford this. So
listen, and you can't. That's why, like I said, sometimes the love from the ecosystem will carry you, right? Yeah. They don't necessarily have to understand the vision, understand the dream, but they understand the purpose that they play in the ecosystem. You understand what I mean? She held Ethan down. You knew he had good meals and was having a good time.
Held it down.
Listen.
Yeah. So, just having him just gave it a more like importance and a need to get it right and get it done and get it done properly and don't play.
Yeah. And how has being a dad changed your vision for being an entrepreneur? Are you thinking legacy studio? What are you thinking? Or are you just nurturing his goals and aspirations?
Yeah, that's what I be thinking that too. I be like, do you want to do this? Like, like, do you care about what I'm doing? And he don't be, he be like, he's 13 now, just for everybody to know, he's 13 now. So I kind of guide him. I don't want to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
I'm guiding him where he feels like his interests are. I'm asking him questions so he could think about, you know, what does he want to do? Because he's getting that age now where you got to figure something out and start going towards that. Trying to teach. Honestly, it kind of kicked for me, I want to say maybe a few years ago that, you know, because I'll get really wrapped in my work. I'll get really wrapped in the business. And sometimes I got to remind myself that, yeah, I am a dad. And you know, that might be bad to say, but
no, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I have to do it all the time.
Yeah.
While you're deep in your vision, you have to also remember that somebody's relying on you.
Yeah.
Like a life is in the balance here.
Yeah.
Well, for me, 2 lives is in the balance here.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, for real.
yeah, as far as it's like his well-being was being taken care of. He, you know, he had his food, the roof over his head, clothes, everything, all of that stuff was taken care of. But there's a part of being a boy. He's a boy, so you know,
Yes.
I got to teach the men.
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
And I'm
Especially being a black man in this world.
Right.
Listen, in New York City is not a game.
So, you know, that kind of kicked in a few years ago. I'm like, okay, I got to actually teach him how to be a man. Or if I don't, just society will.
Yep.
And
Tell him who we need to be.
Yeah, and then you know, society. I don't agree with everything society has going on right now. So I kind of want to give him a little bit of my
Yes, your guidance.
goals and guidance and stuff. You know,
'Cause
so
those principles is what will guide him moving forward. You know what I mean? I always feel like as we see our successes and our visions come to life, you would hope that your kids see it. You know what I mean? In their vision, just because by being in proximity, right? But you also want to be very intentional about the conversations you have. What you're, like you said, you're great. I love that you're like asking questions.
Yeah.
Because your parents did that for you. They nurtured your interests and showed you how to draw and kind of, you know, led you in that way.
Yeah.
He's expecting the same.
Yeah. My parents was very. I had a good time. I mean, it was hard, but my parents didn't make life hard. As far as like they gave me freedom to decide. They just said, do your work. You know, behave, be good, and respect people.
Yes.
But they was very like, you want to be an artist? Be an artist. It's cool.
That's good.
Money was never like the
driving element.
Yeah. There was.
But that is so amazing. And you know how unique that is.
Yes.
I just want you to know that. That is a very unique experience to have, that your parents were like, we want you to be a good human and go towards what you love. That's it. Because listen, in the Caribbean culture, it's like, you got to be a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer.
Yeah, I know.
There's no love what you are, you do. You know what I mean? So that's really sweet.
Yeah, so right now he's into video games, of course, tablet stuff, digital. He's a little bit into art, digital art. He likes sports a little bit. He got into basketball a couple years ago. He likes playing it. He really likes just spending time with me a lot.
Nice.
And you know, I like spending time with him too. And even in that, sometimes I forget, like, okay, I'm your dad.
Like, you just be same. I do that with my daughters all the time. Like, and I gotta catch myself and be like, wait, you my kid.
Right. And so, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would say it's been fun.
That's
It's been
good.
fun. Stressful. As Ethan's also a really good kid too.
Yeah. It's a blessing when you have good kids. I'm also blessed that I have like really good kids. My daughter's like a scholar, and my youngest daughter is like the sweetest child
That's great.
on the planet. Like, seriously, I always say her emotional intelligence is ridiculous at 12.
That's great.
So it's good to have, but it's also great that you have found your space in the world, right? You created this vision, right? Nurtured by your village, but you created this vision where now the same level of like love that allowed you to blossom into this amazing entrepreneur, killer photographer. Like, you chill and humble or whatever, but you gotta take your flowers. You do the thing. You do the thing. But and also now you're building, right? You're an entrepreneur, and how does those learnings? How do you teach Ethan?
So I guess in one example I could think about is like school is important. Right? We can agree school is important. There are times where you can question teachers.
Yes.
I think like, because teachers are human, they also make mistakes.
Yes.
If you need to find out why something is being asked of you, you can ask why. And I
Yes.
think there's this like culture of just do what I say and don't ask me no questions, but I don't teach him that. If he's confused on why something is happening, feel free to ask. And not just me, you can ask me, because I'm not gonna take it personal. A lot of adults will, but I won't. In this house, you know, if you're confused, because what I'm saying should have a clear meaning and a clear reason why.
Yes.
If you don't understand it, then I can explain to you why. I think in school, since that he's there,
The majority of the day.
that you can ask teachers what's up, right? And I think in questioning the system, it'll allow him to kind of think on his own, and maybe he'll come to the point where it's like, all right, this 9 to 5 is like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this? You know,
What is this about?
why do I then? And maybe I could go do my own thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll lead him into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is tough. It's not easy, and I wanted to choose to do it because it's one, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Two, I just wanted to be his own choice.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think the ability to have you as a reference is pivotal. Yes, I agree that I do think we should definitely have our children question the systems that they operate in, especially school. And there's a way to do that, like you said, without being disrespectful, right? Unfortunately, my daughters do it all the time. And I'm always like, while it is exhausting, it does show you that sense of like critical thinking that you're putting, you're embedding in them. I read this article when I was like 17. I'll never forget it. And I hate that I don't remember where the article was, who wrote it. But ultimately, the article spoke about the fact that parenting styles all sum up to 2 styles, which is to create either an emotional slave or an independent thinker.
Oh, interesting.
It was so profound in the way the article was written. And one thing I remember, it was what an emotional slave was, right? Is that essentially a lot of parents create children that are emotionally dependent either on them or someone in their family, but they never consider the fact that every slave needs a master.
Wow.
Right? So that if they're so emotionally dependent on anybody, at some point the masters can transition, and this person will now still not be, the alternative, which is an independent thinker, someone who can kind of forge their own way. And I remember reading this article when I was still in school, so I'd probably like 20 at best. And I thought that was so profound.
It is, yeah.
If you think about it, because it made me start thinking about like my friends and stuff like that.
Actually, yeah. No, for real, that's deep.
Yeah, and it made me think about like my friends and family members and people who I do think are emotionally dependent on somebody else. And then the ones that are like the black sheep, or the ones that you always see are forging their own way because they were essentially raised to always question and be critical thinkers and be independent in their, not only in their emotion, but their thought process. So it's good that we're both in the same mindset where we're like, when they're in school, yes, there's ways to go about questioning things. And this is not like you're not the authority of this space, but definitely you have the right to not yes man life, essentially.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because teachers make mistakes, and the teachers might not make a safe space to do it. I tell him it's safe to do it in the house. It is safe for you to do it there, because what's the worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna get mad. They're gonna say, I'm gonna call your parents. They're gonna call me, and I'm gonna say, what did you do that was disrespectful? You just kind of wanted to know. So just know that I got your back in this critical thinking. All right. If you need to ask questions, and I got your back, and that's it. And they're gonna know that, okay, we gotta make sure we got boots in a row.
Exactly. That's what, and I always say that, especially my own daughters. Ask questions, always be respectful, always treat people how you want to be treated. But also, I think it does put, not just teachers, but administrators and people that are around them in general on notice that you don't have a yes man in your presence. Because I think there is so much danger in that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not only for them as an individual in terms of how they have their own visions and their goals for their lives, but it's dangerous to create a space in which everyone should just be yes.
Yeah.
Because everyone's intentions are not well. Like, we don't know everybody like that. And
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's good. It's great that you kind of forge this way through your own vision and artistry. I love this so much. I'm like, I don't even know where to go. I love this so much.
Yeah, he's still, to be honest, he's still a little afraid to do it. Like because he's like a shy, he's kind of
Yes.
shy. But he'll tell me though. He'll tell me, and he'll tell me that he tried to ask them. He's getting there.
That's good. But and listen, that is important too, right? Because I'm so outspoken and I'm always loud, I remind people that there's space for everyone. Because I was that kid in school, now in the corporate space, where I do speak for other people, where I know that it's not comfortable for them to speak up. Like a lot of people just avoid confrontation, which I totally understand. Like my youngest daughter is Miss Chill, Miss Shy. She's her father's child. She is hella chill, hella shy. And unless you put her in a position she has to talk, she won't.
Right.
She will, she has a speech impediment, so it's difficult for her to communicate. So she always kind of takes the seat back unless she has to. You know what I mean? And I always tell her, like, there is a space between you have to and you need to.
Yeah.
So everything fits. And I love that we are like raising these children not to be of the world in a way.
Yeah.
Because I know for me growing up, this is a way a Black woman should show up. You know what I mean? And this is the way a Black man should show up. Right. But that's not necessarily everyone's spirit. That's not everyone's personality. It's not everyone's calling.
Right.
That is really, really cool. So talk to me about all the success of the studio. You've had some amazing shoots, I know, because I stalk you all the time. We put together this amazing set. Talk to me about some highs and lows of the Levue Studio.
All right. Start with some lows.
Yes.
So I got that first studio, did really well, and ended up getting a second studio in Long Island City. This beautiful studio. Still today is my favorite studio. It's a penthouse, LIC, windows. What do you call it? Like 180. Yeah. Oh my gosh. At any rate, it was beautiful. It wasn't as big. It's nowhere near as big. It was intimate. It was like 900, maybe 700 square feet.
Yeah.
So anyway, then COVID hit. So I had the two studios and COVID hit. That's a lot of money. I lost a lot of money in the beginning, COVID, because everybody was so scared. Everybody was so scared to spend money. And, me too. And rent was tough. And I pretty much was behind on like 4 months rent. Yeah. So it was kind of tough. And I didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I don't know what pulled me out of that, but business started picking up again. But that was definitely a low point. I was like scared. I was like, damn, I have to give up one of these studios. And thank God I didn't have to.
And thank God you didn't have to. But also, like, what kept you in those moments, right? I think the journey of an entrepreneur, I feel like, damn, social media makes it seem so, you know what I mean? The highlight reel of it all. And when you're in these dark moments and you looking at the numbers and the numbers is not adding up. And I'm telling you, for someone who, it's going negative. It's like everything is in the red.
I'm sinking.
You're sinking, actively sinking. What makes you go, you know what? I know this is where I need to be. This is the vision God put me on. I'm gonna power through. Like, what do you tell yourself? What's the vision in those moments to like kind of lock in and take the hits as you sink?
I don't like to, I guess, give up. Right? And what do I tell myself? I know kind of simple, but I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm going to, I guess, pivot the way that I do my marketing. I'm gonna hone in on something that I know might work right now. At that time, I was doing a lot of portraits, and I just started doing like maternity. I started seeing a pickup in maternity during COVID because people didn't want to do baby showers. Yeah. So they was like, I'm pregnant, but I want to commemorate this moment. Yeah. How do I do it? Photo shoot, it's easy. I don't got to see nobody.
Only photos here, it's real tight, it's intimate.
So I started seeing that decision people was making, and I started going really hard on maternities.
Nice.
And that picked me back up, honestly. During those times when it's hard times and low times, I start rethinking. That's what I do. I rethink and I analyze and assess why is this not working? Can I look at it from a different angle and do something else? Or is it done and I need to think of something else to fill in?
Yeah.
But that's where I go during hard times. I'm very much a fight person. That flight or flight. I'm also a fan of underdog. So Yeah, so I'm very.
You trying to come back at the championship with a full quarter? I love that.
I'm always the one. I'm never going back. I'm like,
how do we move forward?
Yeah.
Do you give yourself credit for being such like a marketing genius? That's that mathematical, technical part of you. Do you realize that often when you're on the ropes, you're like, I feel like your brain elevates and you just go, well, how's the algorithm going? How do I pivot?
Yeah.
Do you ever sit back and look at that? No.
No, I mean, I've noticed that like human psychology. I also have a passion for how people think, human behavior, psychology. I've read a couple of books just here and there, but I think I'm very observant in human behavior, and I notice patterns in people's behaviors, and I wonder why they change. I feel like there's always usually a reason. In my everyday interactions, which could be a bad thing, but in my everyday interactions and in my business, I kind of I analyze she didn't knock on the door this time. She usually really. So I'm like, what happened? I need to adjust. What's going on? I'm scared now.
Overthinking.
Yeah, I'm overthinking. Like it could be just human behavior, and she just wanted to do something different. Or it could be she hates me now. So I'm like overthinking, but I do that in business too. So I will definitely try to reassess
and pivot. Yeah. That is so, I love that. Thank you so much. Your vision on how it has grown over time and how it has weathered the storm, literally. Yeah. Like, there was COVID, there's the birth of your son, there is you stepping away from music. You never know, you could have been, Common out here. Like, you stepping away from music and following your passion for photography and arts. It has been such an inspirational journey, and I really hope that our audience enjoys all of the insights that you've given us today. And before I let you go, I want to ask you, every single week here on How Do You Define, we talk about what is the vibe of the week. Music to me is ingrained in our everyday living. You know what I mean? It's in our blood. It helps. It's the one channel of art, like the one modem of art, I should say, that I feel like even if you're deaf, everyone can enjoy that medium of art. So what are you vibing on this week, Gabe? What you bumping?
I don't know. I've been listening. Sometimes I just drive the car quiet, but I've been listening to, that movie, it's not Bonnie and Clyde, it's Queen and Slim.
Oh, yes.
So Queen and Slim had an album, a music soundtrack.
Soundtrack.
And so
sidebar. No, finish telling me, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, so there was that soundtrack, and there's a couple songs on there that I really like. It's very soulful, very black, and I really.
I love a good black love soundtrack.
There's a song called. It's by Lauren. I love Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill has a song on there. It's called I forget the name of it. Guarding the Gate. So you know how she's always telling stories.
Yes.
So the song seems to be about guarding herself and her heart and guarding. It's a good song. Every time Lauryn Hill drops one song every 5 years, I'm like, what she talking about now?
Yes, Lauryn Hill is definitely one of the greats of our time, for sure, 100%.
So I love that. That's what I'm listening to right now, just vibing out.
Nice. I love that. First of all, I love that song. Now I'm going to add it to the playlist. Okay, cool. But because I love a good soundtrack. Remember back in the days when every good movie had a soundtrack? What happened to that? I don't know why. As soon as you said that, I don't know why the soundtrack came to my mind. But you remember Wait to Exhale?
Yes. That's a legend.
That was a legendary
soundtrack. Like there was no soundtrack like that. I feel like the two major soundtracks that come to mind is that one for sure. That's like number one. And Space Jam.
Space Jam is my top 3 movie all time.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
No, now I need to know what's your top movie of all time.
Okay, so Inception. I don't know if you've seen Inception.
Yes.
Space Jam.
The original. Ron just came out and said that. I'll get it. I know the original it's the time. Yeah. You had to be there.
I know the words. You could play the movie. I could recite the words.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, you know what's crazy about Space Jam? To me, Space Jam was one of the first So as you know, back in the day in public school in Brooklyn, we would do a lot of school trips. They don't do that no more. There's not a lot of school trips anymore.
Nope.
But one of our major school trips was going to the Apollo Theater and watching Space Jam.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, snap.
Listen, we got
That's cool.
we got the and we watched Space Jam, and I'll never forget it. And I never forget the songs on that soundtrack just because of that.
My top is hard. I don't know. I'm a comic book fan, so.
Is it gonna be a Marvel movie?
And I try not to put Marvel in there, but did Infinity War Endgame?
Yes, listen, I'll skim by them because you know what's my top movie of all time? Fight Me Down, Bad Boys. 1 and 2. Yes, Martin Lawrence, Will Smith, Bad Boys is my favorite movie of all time.
Why?
Like, I'm so non-serious. I'm so for real. I love that movie. Number 2 was amazing. Granted, 3 and 4 has also been great, but number 2 with Gabrielle Union,
Okay, all right.
I can literally tell you word for word that movie.
There's a lot of movies as a child that like Matilda is up there for me too. I ain't gonna lie.
Matilda was a
Matilda's up there
time.
for me.
Matilda was a time. I have glasses that make me look like that little black girl in Matilda that I keep specifically.
Yes.
Matilda was a time.
Jumanji,
Jumanji.
original,
With
Robin Williams, yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're learning so much about you with these music selections. Space Jam, Jumanji. I love a good game. I love a good board game. Well, Gabe, I could sit here and talk to you all day long. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for showing us and bringing us into your world and how you define vision. I feel like it's such an honor, and I know the guests are enjoying it. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one. This episode of How You Divine is brought to you by PPB Group, the digital transformation agency that is revolutionizing how business evolves in today's tech-driven world. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? At PPB Group, they don't just offer solutions, they partner with you. They scope and craft and build a custom digital transformation strategy tailored to your goals. Whether it's optimizing operations, elevating customer experience, or driving revenue growth, their expertise delivers innovative tools and strategies that create measurable results. From start to finish, they simplify the flex, turning your vision into a seamless digital reality. So why settle for an outdated processes when you can lead with cutting-edge technology? Visit www.petrobincemt.com. Today, schedule your free consultation. That's petrovisit.com, where your transformation begins. Elevate your potential, transform your future with the PPB Group.